Salutations, everyone! Welcome back to the back nine of the 2023 Discraft Ledgestone Open, presented by Merrell. Brought to you by the good boys at Ace Run Pro. I am Sai Ananda, and with me,
Holly Finley, and the ladies are here at Sunset Hills again, the same course we played yesterday, and this is your FPO chase card. We've got a wet and rainy day after yesterday's most perfect ideal conditions. Today, polar opposite.
I really wished I would have got a lot more strokes in while it was beautiful out, that's for sure. Looking at our leaderboard, we've got some pretty good strokes here. Moving on, we are going to start with hole 10. We have got a par 3 at 301 feet, and this one's tricky. All of that tall grass to the left is going to be out of bounds. And you've got a couple of willow trees and a handful of bushes that kind of stand between you and a clear line to the basket. You can either try to kind of push a pretty forward progressing shot through the willows and over the bushes and try your chance at ending up at the basket, or you can throw more of a hyzer flip to just kind of catch the edge of the circle. Stacie teeing.
I'd say this was one of the muddier tee pads of the day.
Clay, I would call it even. It was quite slippery.
She's put herself with a 45-foot birdie putt.
Stacie's managed it well. Looks like Holyn has managed her footing well despite his will.
Holyn takes my favorite route between the willows. She'll be between the bushes for a birdie look.
It's my favorite route to watch, but I certainly will not throw it. Lisa looks like she's hyzering out, coming up just near the circle, but probably maybe 7 or 8 feet shy.
Stacie and Lisa will have very similar putts for birdie.
Vanessa looking a little low here, but getting great distance carry. Similar distance away from the pin, just a little bit different position than Lisa.
Rawnsley from 50 for bird. Let's go, Stacie Rawnsley. Circle 2, Flight Factory run back.
Beautiful. I love the tempo. It's flying pretty straight the entire time. Oh, and just catches the left side of the chains with the spin. That's an excellent birdie to get. Not impossible, but that's a tricky one.
Van Dyken from 45. Oh. Vanessa Van Dyken!
No big putts today. A double run back, y'all. All right. We are starting this back nine off with some heat. Vanessa connecting and hyzering beautifully into the heart of the basket. Some great putts.
Fajkus, can we get a triple?
Oh my goodness, that's so much to ask.
I'm happy for a double.
I'm happy for a double. We'll see what we can make happen next time.
Oh, Holyn!
Holyn from an unseen location.
The triple!
Have we had a triple before? I don't know.
I don't think I've ever seen a triple.
All right, a new record. We're shooting for the quadruple.
OG, triple OG. I loved it.
That was hilarious just because you couldn't even see Holyn. The disc just came flying out of the bushes.
That was a very exciting hole 10.
Yes. Lisa cleaning up her very human-looking par.
Hole 11, a 393-foot downhill par 3. This is a fun shot. The most common play here is to just hyzer out short of the basket and take a putt. But if you want to park it, I feel like you've got to throw it a little longer than you think, possibly pushing the edge of that pond, letting your disc hyzer back into the circle. We do have out of bounds on the left, so you can't choose something with too much of an aggressive finish. Rawnsley up first after that incredible jump putt. And this is exactly what you're looking for. If that can come back.
That little pond is way more intimidating, then I think it actually comes into play. Because I've seen so many players turn it over and you think, oh my goodness, but it's fantastic.
Well, the pond, even though it's downhill, the pond's, 420 away?
It's pretty far away, exactly.
Holyn Handley. I said, she throws a mid into the pond long.
Just as you were, speak of the devil and they will arrive.
To have distance problems. Van Dyken with more of a straight approach. You don't see this very often. Beautiful. 35 feet for birdie.
In my mind, I like that. I like the low, straight turnover. It's nice and controlled.
Usually a disc that flies that straight doesn't hold up that well in this type of breeze today.
Yeah, agreed. But she kept it nice and low, thankfully. Lisa had a little bit of her hands on her hips there, wanted some more out of it.
It's Lisa's first season with Lone Star Discs, so, she spent the last 7-8 years on Team Innova, so all these discs she's throwing, it's the first year she's throwing these things. Holyn Handley can save par from here.
Oh, we all wanted to see it.
I know she wants that Throw Joe's disc back.
I think that was the first putt she's missed. And that was well outside the circle, not a criticism by any means.
Van Dyken doesn't get 2 long putts in a row, but it was a good attempt.
That's a lot to ask for.
Rawnsley doing big things at sunset today.
Just at circle's edge there. Very clean.
It's Rawnsley's first season on Castaplast after spending the last couple of years on Team Innova.
It seems like it's very comfortable for her.
Yes, she has settled really nicely into her new bag. Van Dyken to save par.
From just outside the target, makes it pretty well. Holyn will take her first bogey.
I want to say I've played here, 7-8 years, and I've never seen anyone throw it into the pond long.
Wow, that's interesting. All right, guys, we are looking at hole 12, par 3 at 383 feet. We've got a lot to play around with here. Doesn't really come into play, but we do have a little bit OB left, and definitely most notably, we've got this water OB to the right. A lot of these trees are tricky and can catch you and potentially roll you down into the water. You definitely want to keep your tee shot controlled and not too much in the wind.
Rawnsley up first after 2 birdies in a row, and she's going for more of a safe bailout play.
Yep, I think the safe hyzer shot, the approach really isn't too difficult, so if you make the choice that you don't want the birdie, it's not that difficult.
Ooh, aggressive route from Van Dyken over the out of bounds, over the pond, swinging back in.
Checking up to
green flag.
What appeared to be about circle's edge, and that the turnover, you have to have that confident turnover towards the water to get a good birdie look. This is looking a little too high in my opinion. Should be safe if it doesn't touch. Yep. But that is approaching a distance where that approach might get a little bit more challenging for her out there. Looks like that disc tried to flip up on her a little bit. She was trying to play the wind there.
If it was in the fairway, she probably would have been parked and slid up against that back wall. But Holyn throws it out of bounds long again. Oh, and Lisa's disc just gets to rolling. She was looking for a gentle layup, and thank goodness it's safe.
A little bit of forgiveness there.
It's going to be a tester par putt.
Yeah, this green is definitely interesting. They've put the baskets in some tricky positions on this course.
Van Dyken for birdie. Look at this angle. Such an extreme uphill putt. What a good birdie to get.
And very much uphill. Where she was trying to aim the disc was actually above her head level.
And Lisa doesn't quite read the wind properly for that comeback putt.
No, and in the wind, you really got to be direct. You know, you got to tell. Oh,
nasty par putt from Holyn Handley.
Wow. Putting those putts together. Really making it work for her today.
Wow. The courage of even going for that putt is elite level.
Well said, yeah, too.
And then actually making it is well done.
Not even, phased by slightly errant shots. Just absolutely plowing forward like a bulldozer today.
After Lisa's upshot rolled to the bottom, she missed the comeback, and she'll have to settle for the only bogey here. Hole 13, 280-foot par 3 shot. Your tee shot, you need to decide, are you going to be aggressive and go for it, park it and try to get a birdie? Or are you going to just play safe and do a little chip shot? I like to go aggressive. There's no reason you shouldn't just go for it. Everyone can reach 280 if they're playing in this division. But with the wind and the slippery tees, we might see some strategy changes on this hole today.
I found this to be one of the more challenging tee shots on the course.
It makes you think you need a lot of hyzer, but as soon as you do that, you're out of bounds.
Yep, long and left of the basket.
Van Dyken, her tee shot turns over, goes into that bush, and she's OB off the tee. You can see Stacie's doing the exact same thing as that wind just takes a hold of it. She's out of bounds as well. Holyn Handley has thrown several tee shots out of bounds. Let's see if she can get this one in.
Checking it up nicely. Premium, well said, yes. I think this hole's interesting because it almost gives you 2 layers of gap to hit. Lisa opting for lays it up to the drop zone, basically. She'll have a very simple upshot or potentially even, run it as if it were from the drop zone. Oh yeah, that looked like it had a little bit of height on it.
Any tee shots that do not land in bounds proceed to the drop zone, which is where Van Dyken is throwing from, as well as Rawnsley.
Holyn for some movement here. That's definitely a big separation with 2 players putting from the drop zone there.
Holyn has a really good round going today. 4 under par so far.
Not without its challenges, but she's facing the adversity very well. And just like that, the hole's so short, it happens so quickly. All right, you guys, we are looking at hole 14. This is a par 4 at 329 feet. It's definitely reachable for a lot of individuals, but it certainly is challenging to get the distance with the accuracy to land it in between this little cluster of trees here. We've got OB along the entire fairway to the left. It does open up a little bit by the green, so it's a fairly open shot. We also have OB along the right side of the fairway as well, guiding you down towards the basket.
Handley with a laser.
Well, I almost thought that it didn't have enough turn on it, but the forward progress was great.
And as we've seen with several shots of Lisa's, she throws the disc and then looks at it as if she just didn't expect it to turn over. Unfortunately, she's out of bounds off the tee. Van Dyken, that needs to sit, and we can't have any left finish for her to be safe. She's out of bounds.
Looks like she got some good forward progress down the fairway at the least, so she might have a little stab at it. This also needs to get down, or...
It's so high. It's too high. And Stacie is also out of bounds off the tee.
Just barely hopped out. A little bit more forward progress,
If you think back to Holyn's shot, she kept it really nice and low directly at the basket. It didn't have all that air underneath it.
Precisely. It's what keeps it nice and accurate and keeps it true to the line that you put it on without the wind kind of messing with it.
Lisa actually messed up her upshot, but the course gave her one back, hit a tree, and ricocheted her right next to the basket.
Take the gifts when you can get them. Stacie looked like she wanted to give that a little bit of a go, but didn't connect for her. That looked like it had a good height on it, but not quite the tempo.
Holyn gets another birdie. What a round she's putting together. 5 under par.
And in adverse conditions, as I said in the beginning, that could be dangerous.
It's 2 bogeys in a row for Stacie, as well as 2 bogeys in a row for Vanessa. And Lisa has still yet to capture a birdie here on the back 9. Holyn Handley, she's charging ahead.
One mistake so far, and it was a little one.
Welcome back, players and playettes. This is hole 15, a par 4, 555 feet. If you're the utmost elite level thrower, your tee shot will go all the way out here, work itself around the corner. But most of the people are just going to throw a nice straight shot where they can have an opening to the basket. If you have a nice low putter shot or a mid, you can sneak up there and get yourself a birdie 3. This is a very hard birdie. You've got out of bounds on the left as well as out of bounds on the right over the fence. Holyn Handley up first.
I feel like even if you set yourself up for, perfect positioning, it's still a really challenging second shot. Even in ideal positioning, it really funnels. You see the ceiling come into play and a lot of these fluffy trees.
In order to get a birdie chance on this hole, you have to push your tee shot very long, which again can just take off some of the control you might have on it. And Van Dyken has found that out of bounds again. She buries her face in her hands. You can tell it's frustrating. She's bogeyed the last 2 holes.
And it adds up when you've got the adverse weather, you've got all of your rain gear and, having these errant shots. It's a challenge out here. Stacie on the right side, not too bad.
And from here, what Lisa needs to do is keep it low, get around the corner and hopefully not end up in the rough. And she's caught up in something over there.
That's the big mistake, is you're trying to wrap the corner and you don't get it tight enough.
And you can see Rawnsley was trying to get there. It looks like she's
made it out of bounds.
She threw it very hard. It came out early left and went to that out of bounds area. And she's frustrated too because, like Van Dyken, she's bogeyed the last 2 holes. And you just want to try to keep it clean here as you close up the round today. And that's all a person needs to do. What Vanessa did, that's all you need to do. As soon as you start to get greedy here, that's when the trouble shows up.
I have not seen greed benefit, 99% of, the shots where I've seen players go for a little bit extra. It always bites you.
Van Dyken actually messed up her tee shot. She kind of overthrew that, and the course gave one back to her and kicked her right under the basket, which is what Lisa got on the hole before.
And that's unusual because you'll see discs kind of just like that exactly.
This green is so fast.
Unexpectedly.
It is. It's not downhill or anything. Okay, now I guess it is slightly downhill.
But because of that, you only see the grass. You don't see the actual quickness of the green, perhaps.
It's even faster if it's dry and dusty. And you can see Lisa's just building up some frustration there. She didn't like that upshot. It's going to leave her with a tester putt. Oh, I love this putt from Stacie. This is my favorite kind of putt.
Putting our skills to the test here. She makes the gap, which is part 1. Part 2 didn't quite make the connection.
Lisa Fajkus with the proposal putt.
I call that a schmear. Right off the side of the chains.
Handley in for par.
Excellent par.
She had a great drive and a really good upshot, but she hit that stump, and it just kind of took away an easy birdie op. You can see Stacie's showing a bit of frustration with the way she tossed her bag. You know, she's had really good putting today. She made some of those long ones. She's had a lot of birdies, and then you get bogey, bogey, double bogey here towards the end of the round. I mean, some people walk off after situations like that.
And I don't know, I may be reaching, but I almost feel like the hole kind of sets you up for it. With that tee shot, I feel like you get a false sense of complacency and thinking that you've set yourself up well, and then you don't really anticipate basically another hole's level of difficulty.
Only 2 birdies out of the entire female division today on this hole. Not surprising. This is one of the tougher ones.
Not giving those birdie outs easy. All right, you guys, this is hole 16. We're looking at a par 3 at 352 feet. This is definitely a little bit of a pump out there. We've got a little bit of angle on the slope to play with, but the main thing we're working with is just this left to right. There's not really a lot of out of bounds to speak of, so it's managing your distance and your angle control. It seems like more of an Anheuser shot than it really plays. If you threw it dead nut on a rope, you would probably land within 20 feet, I would say. This is a little too high.
Holyn doesn't like it, but as long as you make it halfway down the fairway, par is almost inevitable. You can move on to the next one.
In contrast to the previous hole, this is much more forgiving of any kind of slightly errant shots.
A beautiful shot from Van Dyken, nice and low, and she is up there looking at a birdie putt.
Exactly. Dead straight, almost exactly like I mentioned.
Yeah, you do not need to angle it to get to the basket unless you're trying to park it. You saw Vanessa just straight ahead. She's in the circle.
But sometimes trying to park it is more work than a 20-foot putt.
Lisa has a more common landing zone where people throw a bit of a more stable disc and hyzer out left.
That was a very understable disc. If you saw the extreme angle she had it on, that's a smart choice, though, I think.
Stacie with that nice hyzer flip. We'll see if Lisa's feeling this long putt or not, but first up, Holyn, I forgot she had a little tree hit. Oh, that's a circle's edge, almost par
28,
putt.
27 feet. That'll be a little tricky.
Normally you see Lisa go for these types of things, but she's been very choosy with what she's running today.
I think the roll potential on this. Oh,
Stacie, that's the way to do it now.
She was confident with that one. You saw, but almost before it connects with the chains. Yep, she takes the step. That's so awesome to see. Great.
She got mad after that double bogey and decided to get some revenge.
I love the fight. Connects with the basket, but doesn't connect for the score. Still running those putts, though. Even though they're not always going for it, I find that
Holyn's, it was too high.
Knows.
Let's admit it.
She
it was
knows.
Too high. You can't be mad at the basket.
No, and I think it's really important at this point right now. She can't let that get her too down. I mean, that was dead straight, great tempo. Maybe a couple inches too high. Really wasn't a large mistake.
And her mistakes are really just hitting the basket and it not going in, You could tell she had some frustration from the way she dropped that disc in the basket for her bogey.
Handling moments like that are super duper crucial, I think, for your personal momentum in the round.
Hole 17, one of the more rewarding feeling birdies on the course. Par 4, 525 feet. You've got that Mando tree. You need to pass to the left of it. If your tee shot lands at or past the Mando, you're in premium position, preferably more to the left of the fairway. The further right you are, the more difficult it is, the more pinched off you are, the harder it is to get up into this area for a look at birdie.
Stacie with a deep breath.
Was that somebody's dust bag behind the tee or somebody vaping? I couldn't tell.
I'm going to give the benefit and hope that I was a chalk bag.
Stacie Rawnsley with a great shot off the tee.
Taking those deep breaths are so important. Vanessa getting some good distance. Landing on the left side.
Premium. That'll give her a nice forehand option or even a little turnover option.
Well executed as well. No funny business here. That looks great. Similar position to Vanessa. Some determination on Holyn's eyes there. You could tell she really wants to get some good distance off here.
About 50 feet past the Mando sign, but on the right side. But she's got really good forehand.
And I almost feel like the forehand can kind of match the angle of that green a little bit better than an Anheuser can sometimes.
You see Van Dyken threw it long enough that she almost had even a straight shot into the tunnel. And I'm not sure if she was purposefully trying to lay that up or if she just shorted it.
I was wondering the same thing. Because
and also the same thing for Holyn. She didn't get up there either.
Interesting. I wonder if this is strategic because this is a infamous, or I should say notoriously tricky green. We'll see a lot of rolls, a lot of skips, and a lot of slides not in the player's favor.
I'm sure that Stacie was going for that, but she got caught up in the corner. Van Dyken's happy just to pitch up and take a look at par. And look at this hairy corner. If you guys have played here in the last couple years, you know this used to be basically an unplayable lie area. But the crew out here, they've cleaned it up, and maybe not where Holyn is, but a little bit further in there, you actually have little tunnels that you can work with. This is the most common play and the most successful from there. A little forehand roller.
Okay.
You put it down, let it work its way back around, and you should be parked.
I would be so scared to throw a roller. Just look at how the downward slope, but it's interesting because it'll just fall flat down. Hiding her lips a little bit on that one.
Oh. And as we've seen, that has been Holyn's mistake, hitting the basket, and she has actually contained that frustration. We saw her want to slap her leg on several other missed putts, and she didn't. She caught herself, but
just now letting it out.
On 17, it's just built up.
Hopefully she can hold strong. 18 could be an opportunity. We'll see later.
Fajkus in for par. Van Dyken in for par.
Got a little bit of some mudslide action going on here. We've got staff that put out some mulch and some dirt and stuff to try and help it out, but there's only so much you can do.
And Holyn was at 5 under for the round, but now she's taken 2 bogeys in a row.
That's heavy. That's heavy on hole 17, especially on the day when we're really trying to make that cut, as you had mentioned before. Alright, you guys, we are finishing on a beautiful hole 18. We're looking at a par 3 at 383 feet. It seems simple conceptually, but with the slopes that we're playing with the grass, it definitely makes it difficult. We've got the angle going from right to left, playing downhill. The mistake is to air it out too much and hyzer out left with how the lay of the land plays. You've got to have some confidence to get the disc direct at the basket.
The lay of the land, I love that term. Rawnsley up first, I like this. More of a nose down to the right side, hopefully with a hyzer finish.
I think that's the great stroke. Oh, she's landed significantly long.
Now, I told you guys on the front half that Rawnsley is no stranger to the distance department. Okay, the girl could throw 400 feet as soon as she showed up on the scene. This is the same straight approach we saw from Van Dyken on other similar downhill holes, and it worked for her, and it's worked again. She's looking at birdie.
But if she could just get it instead of throwing directly, at the basket. I think you had mentioned in the previous round, you got to throw to the right of the basket as it slows down and finishes. But it looks like everybody is down at the green so far. I like this. As the disc slows down naturally, it's just going to slowly fade and check up into the green.
That's a tester putt.
It certainly is. We've got a downhill there, but she's hungry for it.
And spectators. Rawnsley with a birdie putt on the 18th, currently sitting at even par.
Risky putt, but in the opposite direction. See, now you see her looked down. I feel like that was a moment. She's laughing. She wanted to run that one, but her body just wouldn't let her do it. Oh, Holyn decides to run it, which is brave, and she's hungry, but doesn't make the connection. She's a little bit disappointed by that. Lisa carrying the birdie with a strong finish.
Lisa had a bit of a rough round.
She did.
5 over par. It wasn't bad by any means.
Needed that birdie, in so many words.
We all know Lisa is capable of much cleaner golf.
Vanessa making contact with the basket, but not connecting with the putt, unfortunately.
Holyn will take a par here on the final hole.
Sigh of relief as that concludes.
Putting her at 3 under par for the round. Oh, Van Dyken. Van Dyken.
That's so tough. So tough on the final hole. You just want to wrap it up.
And Van Dyken is an incredible golfer. I mean, she's gotten podium finishes at majors, and we all know she's capable of much cleaner golf than we saw displayed today. But today was actually cut day. Only the top 24 people made it through to tomorrow. Let's take a look at the leaderboard. Missy Gannon sitting in first place. Owen and Ella tied in second. And I played with Macy Veladiaz today, who shot a 10-14 rated round to move herself up into the discussion.
Did she really? What an excellent moving day. I'd love to see that fight.
It was fun hanging out with you guys in the rain. I appreciate you chilling with Cy and I. And if you'd like to check out some CBD products, head to pharmacbd.com. Use code HOLLY for 20% off. Your support helps support my tour.
And if you can catch me in person while I'm out here on the road, I have a stack of Tournament X Burst Bears with a custom logo you can only get from me in person. I would love to come say hi, and I appreciate the support.
An in-person custom logo only available from you? I need one.